When my husband took out a life insurance policy on me without telling me, I asked why. He said, "It's just precaution, you're always sick." Later that week, I found emails between him and his cousin discussing what to do next. I took them to a lawyer, and when he got the call from the insurance investigator, I've been married to Sam for 12 years. We live just outside Rochester, New York, in a 2-story colonial that we bought together right before our daughter, Ellie, was born. I used to think we were a solid couple. Not perfect, but strong enough to weather the bad times. I really believe that. I was wrong. I've had lupus since I was in my 20s. If you don't know much about it, it's brutal. You can look fine one day and be in a hospital bed the next. Some days I can do everything. Other days, just getting out of bed feels like a war. Sam knew all about this before we got married. At first, he was supportive. Kind. He'd drive me to appointments, make sure I took my meds, even sit up with me when I couldn't sleep from the pain. But over the last few years, that changed. He got more irritated, more distant. He'd sigh when I said I was too tired to cook. He started staying late at work, then longer trips for training that never added up. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I was too much. Maybe being sick all the time wore him down. I made excuses. I didn't want to believe what was right in front of me. 3 months ago, I got a letter in the mail from an insurance company. It was addressed to me, confirming a newly issued life insurance policy for $500,000. The policy listed me as the insured and Sam as the owner and sole beneficiary. I hadn't signed anything. I sat in the kitchen holding that letter like it was made of ice. My hands were shaking. I waited until Ellie was in bed and I asked Sam about it. He was so casual. "It's just precaution. You're always sick," he said. Didn't even look up from his phone. I said, "What the hell do you mean precaution? You didn't think to tell me?" He shrugged. "It's not a big deal. People do this all the time. If something happens to you, I'll need help with Ellie. That's all it is." That might have made sense if we discussed it. If it wasn't so secretive. If it didn't feel like he was preparing for something. I dropped it for the night, but I couldn't sleep. Something about how he said it. It felt rehearsed. Like he was already waiting for this moment. A few days later, I went into the den to grab the old iPad we kept in there. It was barely used. I needed it to look up a recipe, believe it or not. But when I turned it on, Sam's email was still logged in. I know what it looks like. Snooping. But I wasn't trying to. It was right there. Open. And I saw an unread email at the top that just said, Plan B. I tapped it. My stomach dropped. It was from his cousin, Mark. They're close, but not in a way I ever really trusted. Mark's always been slick. Greasy hair, fake smile. Always try to sell something. He's the type of guy who calls in favors before you even know you owe him. The email said, "She's weaker lately. If something happens, just follow through like we talked about." Play dumb. There were more. At least 7 emails between them. Another one from Sam said, "The insurance kicked in. Just need to wait. Don't say anything stupid." One just said, "I'll call you after she's gone. We'll keep it clean." I took screenshots of everything. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, shaking. Because it didn't feel like a betrayal. It felt like a threat. I forwarded the emails to myself, then deleted all traces from the iPad. I called a lawyer the next morning. Not just any lawyer. A woman named Carla that my friend from support group used during her divorce. Carla wasn't cheap, but she knew her stuff. I showed her everything. She didn't even flinch. "This isn't just shady," she said. "This could be insurance fraud. Maybe worse." She got on the phone with the insurance company that afternoon. Talked to someone in their fraud department. By the next morning, they were investigating it. I didn't warn Sam. I didn't tell him anything. I wanted to see his reaction when it hit. That morning, I was sitting at the dining table, sipping coffee, when his phone rang. I could hear the whole conversation from where I was. He answered casually, but within seconds his tone changed. His voice dropped low, then got loud, fast. "What are you talking about? Who said that?" "No, I didn't do anything wrong." Then silence. He turned to me, pale as a ghost. What the hell did you do? I looked right at him and said, I protected myself. Something you didn't count on. He just stared. Didn't deny a thing. Didn't even ask what I meant. That was all the confirmation I needed. My lawyer's working on filing for divorce, pressing for full custody of Ellie, and possibly going after him and Mark legally. There's a chance this becomes a criminal case. But this isn't over. Sam and Mark wanted to erase me for $500,000. They thought I'd just get sick and die and make it easy for them. The days after that call were a blur of tension and silence. Sam didn't say much. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He just moved through the house like a storm cloud, slamming doors, pacing, avoiding eye contact. I locked the bedroom door at night. I didn't feel safe around him anymore. My lawyer told me not to confront him, not to mention the emails again, and to document everything. So I did. Every time he raised his voice. Every time he accidentally unplugged my medical equipment. Every time Ellie came to me whispering, Daddy's mad again. One night, I found one of my pill bottles missing. Prednisone. I always keep it in the kitchen cabinet, second shelf, clearly labeled. It was gone. When I asked Sam if he moved it, he shrugged and said, Maybe you forgot where you put it. But I hadn't. And the next morning, it was back, half empty. That's when I set up a nanny cam. I told Sam I needed it to keep an eye on the dog while I rested. He didn't question it. Maybe he thought I was too tired to notice much. Maybe he thought I still trusted him on some level. But I recorded everything. And 3 days later, I had footage of him going into my cabinet in the middle of the night, opening my pill bottle, pouring out half into a Ziploc bag, then stashing it in the garage. I showed my lawyer. She called a private investigator. We filed for an emergency custody hearing. In the meantime, I stayed in the guest room and started sleeping with the door locked and a chair against the handle. I didn't eat anything he cooked. I only drank sealed bottled water. I was scared all the time. Not just for me, but for Ellie. Ellie started acting different too. Quiet. Withdrawn. I caught her hiding snacks in her backpack. When I asked her why, she looked down and said, In case I need to run away. That broke me. I didn't cry in front of her. But later, I locked myself in the bathroom and let it all out. Not just fear, but rage. The kind of rage that simmers and grows until it becomes a plan. Then the cousin Mark started sniffing around. He showed up in our driveway one afternoon like it was no big deal. Ellie was playing with chalk out front, and I was watching from the porch. He waved at her, called her princess. I walked straight out, told him to leave. He smiled like a snake and said, Relax, just saying hi. Family, right? I told him if he stepped foot on my property again, I'd call the police. I wasn't bluffing. After that, the investigator started digging into Mark's background. Found out he had a record. Small-time fraud, 2 DUIs, and some sealed court documents my lawyer was trying to unseal. The guy was a walking red flag. Meanwhile, Sam got more unpredictable. One night, he came into the kitchen while I was getting water and said real low, You really think anyone's gonna believe you over me? I didn't answer. I just turned on my phone and started recording. He walked off. The next morning, he was gone. Left early, before Ellie even woke up. No note. No goodbye. But later that day, I got an alert from the bank. He'd pulled $8,000 from our joint savings. When I called to freeze the account, the teller said, Oh, Mr. H. told us he needed emergency funds. Said his wife was unstable. He was already trying to flip the story. I added financial theft to our legal claims. Carla was building a case so strong it wouldn't just end in divorce. It might end in handcuffs. But I knew he wasn't done. Sam's not the type to walk away quietly. And whatever he and Mark started, they weren't finished yet. I could feel it. A week after Sam drained the account, I got a letter in the mail from CPS, Child Protective Services. Someone had made an anonymous report claiming I was neglecting Ellie, that I was heavily medicated, mentally unstable, and leaving her unattended for hours. My hands shook reading it. I knew exactly who filed it. The next day, a CPS caseworker showed up. I was polite. Calm. I let her inside, showed her the fridge full of food, the neat house, Ellie's clean room, and her homework on the kitchen table. I even showed her the medicine cabinet, all properly labeled and organized. She talked to Ellie privately for 20 minutes. When she left, she said she'd file her report within a week. Said I didn't seem like the person in the complaint at all. But the damage was done. Sam had escalated. And now he was using our daughter to try to destroy me. Carla was furious. She filed a formal complaint and added it to our case. That same week, the private investigator handed over something I didn't expect: video surveillance of Sam and Mark meeting late at night in a diner parking lot right outside Buffalo. It wasn't illegal, not by itself. But what they said in those blurry clips and what the lip reader we hired pulled out was chilling. Sam, she's gonna fold eventually. Mark, she has to. Worst case, we plant something. Sam, it won't get that far. I know her pills. I know the timing. They were still planning something. I hadn't stopped them. I'd only slowed them down. Then something unexpected happened. Mark's ex-girlfriend, Rachel, contacted me. She said she'd heard what was going on through the grapevine and needed to talk. We met at a diner in Henrietta. She came in looking nervous but determined. I lived with Mark for 2 years, she said. He did this before. Not with murder, but he scammed a woman with cancer. Helped her husband fake documents to collect early insurance. Got caught. That's why those court records are sealed. She was a minor when it started. I nearly dropped my coffee. She gave us a name. Carla tracked the woman down. She was now living in Florida and agreed to write a sworn statement. It changed everything. That statement connected Mark to a prior case of medical fraud and showed a pattern. We brought it to the investigator at the insurance company. Within days, they launched a full formal investigation into Sam and Mark for conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. But Sam wasn't going quietly. He filed an emergency motion with the court claiming I was trying to alienate him from Ellie. Claimed I'd poisoned her against him. Claimed I was mentally unstable and had a history of paranoia. The court gave him temporary supervised visitation rights, but only under observation and only at the family center. Ellie didn't want to go. She cried. Clung to me. Said she didn't feel safe with him. We went anyway. I didn't want to risk being accused of interfering. The first visit, he barely spoke to her. Just stared at me through the glass like he wanted me dead. That's when I realized this wasn't just about money anymore. Sam wasn't trying to get rid of me for insurance. He was trying to erase me. 2 weeks after that visitation, Sam made his move. Or tried to. It was late, almost midnight. Ellie was asleep. I was in bed watching the baby monitor feed I had hidden in the living room, just in case. That's when I saw movement on the screen. The front door opened. No knock. No key. Just opened. It was Sam. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and called 911 on speaker. I didn't leave the bedroom. Just locked the door, pushed the dresser against it, and waited. On the monitor, I watched him walk through the house like he owned it. Calm. Quiet. He wasn't looking for Ellie. He was looking for me. The cops got there fast. Sam claimed he was there to check on Ellie, said he was worried I was off my meds. He had a copy of the fake CPS report in his pocket to back it up. Said he was acting out of concern. What he didn't know was that I'd already sent all his threats, all his emails, and the surveillance footage to both my lawyer and the investigator from the insurance company. The local police had already been briefed. The CPS case was closed and documented as false. He was arrested on the spot for trespassing, violating a protective order I'd just had expedited the day before. But that was just the beginning. In court, everything came out. The forged policy documents, the emails, the video footage, Rachel's sworn statement. The sealed case from Mark's past was finally unsealed after Carla pushed hard. The judge was stunned. Called it one of the most calculated and cruel cases of domestic betrayal he'd seen in years. The insurance company dropped the policy and filed federal fraud charges. Mark was arrested in Buffalo. They raided his apartment and found forged medical records and a burner phone filled with texts between him and Sam. Sam was charged with conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, attempted poisoning, child endangerment, and breaking and entering. Mark was charged with conspiracy, witness tampering, and obstruction. They took plea deals, but the damage was done. Sam got 6 years. Mark got 4. Not long enough for what they tried to do, but enough to destroy their lives. I got full custody of Ellie. No visitation. Not even supervised. Financially, I was drained, but the court awarded me restitution from the sale of Sam's truck and the remainder of our house equity. Carla made sure I got every cent I was owed. I also filed a civil suit for emotional distress and attempted murder. It's still ongoing, but we have a solid case. And Ellie, she's okay now. We go to therapy. She sleeps with the door closed but unlocked. Her drawings look brighter. She smiles more. She knows I fought for her. She knows I stayed. As for me, I'm still healing. I still check the locks twice. I still wake up sweating sometimes. But I also know what I'm capable of now. He thought I was weak because I was sick. He thought he could erase me. He thought I'd die quietly and make him rich. But I lived. And I made damn sure he lost everything.